Hi y'all, it's Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack, and today we're going to take two little haunted houses from the Dollar Tree and turn them into a gingerbread cottage. Let's get to the craft desk and get started. Let's go. Okay, you guys, we're here at the craft desk and we've got two of these haunted houses that we got from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to paint them with some brown acrylic paint, and then we're going to paint both sides of it. We're going to paint the front side, and then we're going to paint the back side. And the color paints that I used are a Nutmeg, a classic caramel, and a chocolate sprinkle, and I kind of mixed up the colors and just gave myself a combination. And I'll paint both of those. Then I'm going to pull out 6 popsicle sticks, and actually you see me paint more than 6, but I wanted to make sure I had enough for the project. But it actually only took 6 popsicle sticks for this. And what I'm showing you here is that I paint the front sides of it, then I'm going to let them dry, and I'm going to paint the other side of it, and then I'm going to paint both ends, and then I'm going to turn them over after they dry and paint the other side. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to count out 48 little mini wooden sticks that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and or you can use toothpicks, square toothpicks, and I'm just painting them white. We're going to use these for our windows, and you only need to paint 24 of these white. The other 24 of the 48, you're going to just leave plain, because you're actually going to use them on the windows to help. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get to it, but it's used to help make the window pane. Okay, and we're just going to continue painting these, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, what we have here is we have some of these little hooks that came off of pot holders or dish towels and stuff from the Dollar Tree that we used in our other project, and we just saved them. Now I'm going to paint them like little candy canes all the way around. I'm going to put probably 2 coats of paint on this to make sure my little stripes are nice and dark like I want them. And then I'm going to paint the little poker chips to be like little peppermint pieces. And I just went around and did little circles, did little stripes all the way around those. And then we will take those and put them on our little gingerbread house. Now I'm going back and touching up some of those little candy canes. Now I didn't need all 7 of these little candy canes. I only ended up using 4 of those and the 2 peppermints. But it's your choice. It's your house. Decorate it the way you want to. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take the other 24 sticks that you had. You're going to take 12 of them and put them on each side of each one of these windows on this house. And then you're just going to hot glue them in place, and you're going to go all the way down with all the windows and do this. And you want to make sure you have them pretty straight, because that's going to help you line up your little white ones that you're going to put on when you do your little window panes. So I'm just working my way all the way down this side of this little house, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side of the other house. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our little white sticks on. We're going to glue the long one in first, and then you make sure it's lined up nice and straight. Then you're going to come back in with your next one, and it's going to be the one that goes across. Now up here at the top of this little house, you're going to have to trim that one down and make it fit across there, because it's actually too long. So we're going to take and make a little cross right there, and then we'll go and see how it looks like a little window pane. And you want to make sure that it's nice and straight, and that's what I'm showing you here. And then I'm going to just work my way down the whole side of this little house, and I'll repeat it again on the opposite side, on the opposite matching one of the little gingerbread houses. Did that make sense when I said that? I'm just going to repeat what I'm doing here on the other house as well, because you know we put the little sticks beside the windows on the other house. Okay, you guys, I think this is my most favorite part of the project, is when I start embellishing the fronts of these little houses. Now, I could have done this before I put the toothpicks on, but I didn't think about it. So what I'm doing is I'm going around the little house, and I'm using the fine Sharpie marker, and I'm going around the edge of the house and just putting the little lines on it. I just think this adds to the house. At first, when I started doing it, I almost thought it was going to make it look more like a haunted house, but once I really started getting all the things on there, it just made this little project just pop. So I'm going to continue going around, and I just make a line and two little hash marks, and a line, two little hash marks, and I just go all the way around the outside of the little house. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around each of the windows when I get this part done. So here I go. I'm going to go around each of the windows, and then we'll move on to the next part. Next, I'm going to take out my ultra fine Sharpie marker, and I see that I have a window over there that I forgot to do. Oh, yep, I just realized it. I'll come back to that. So I'm going to go all the way around doing a little squiggly line. I'm not being perfect about this by no means. I am just making a messy squiggly line all the way around this project, all the way around the windows, all the way around the doors. Each little opening and each little side gets their little mark. And there I go back in and put in those little marks I forgot to put when I did the first thing. And so then I come back and do my squiggly lines all the way around the window there and on the rooftops. This just adds character to your little project. And when you're putting it on, if you notice that it's just not looking the way you want to, don't stop. Keep going. Commit to the project and just do it. Because at one point I looked at it and I go, oh no. But then when I came back with this Uniball white marker, or gel pen and started putting that white little squiggly line all the way around the windows, I was like, oh yeah, now this is really starting to look like a gingerbread house. And I'm just using that little white marker like it's my icing pencil. And I'm going to take and go all the way around. And as you see, I'm not making it neat. I'm just doing a messy line, squiggly line, all the way through the whole project. And this is when I really start seeing it come to life. But without those other little lines behind it, it kind of would look plain. And so you want to make sure you do all your little lines, because each line is what's going to give it that character and make it look like it's that little gingerbread house. And you don't have to be perfect with this. If you mess up, it's okay. And I'm showing you that I did them all. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to turn it over, and you're going to put these little yellow pieces of cardstock in the windows. And that's a 1.5 by 1.5 inch square, and the bigger windows are 1.5 by 2.5. Okay, now that we have all of our little yellow cardstocks in the window, we get to start decorating the outside of the house. Now you could put this together ahead of time, or you could do it while it's laying flat. I chose to do it while it's laying flat. And I'm going to take my poker chip and I'm going to put it on the opposite side of my door. Now you want to make sure that when you put that down, that you raise it up above the bottom of the piece so that it can sit flat. And then I put a little pearl in the center of it. Now I'm going to glue one of my hooks on beside the door to make it look like a little candy cane. And then I'm going to add a little pearl right there in front of it, and then I'm going to put one on the other side of the door. Okay, so you're going to end up needing 4 of these little red towel hooks and 2 of the poker chips and 6 pearls, because you're going to put the same thing on the other little house. Now the other things that you're going to need is some buttons, and I got one big green button for this side of the house and one for the other side. So everything you do to this side, you have to mirror for the other side of the house. Okay, then the next thing I got is I have 4 of these red and white buttons. And I'm going to take and grab those, put some glue on them, and put them right at that center window. So I didn't have enough to do all of the windows, but I thought they were too cute not to put on here. And then I have 12 red buttons, and I'm going to take and put one of these at the top of each of the windows that I have on this side. And then I'm going to take the other 6 and put them on the other side of the other house. And if you notice right up there or right over to the left of the screen, you'll see all the pieces I have set out to make sure I have enough for each side of the house. Okay, and then the next thing that I'm going to do is I have 10 pieces of nail art bows, and I'm going to take, I don't have enough to do them all in the same color. And these came from the Dollar Tree in the nail art section where they have the nail polish. And I'm just putting one of those little bows under each one of the windows, except for that window that has the 2 little red and white buttons. And I've got enough for the other side. So when you do this, you want to make sure you have enough to do everything on the other side of the project the same. I just think this turned out absolutely adorable. Okay, now what you want to do is you got to have 4 Jinga blocks, and you're going to glue them together at the ends, at one end, and you're going to put 2 of them together. Now I didn't have to paint my Jinga blocks because I had the pack that had the dark and the light in it, and these are the darker ones, and it was the perfect color for my project, so I didn't need to paint new ones. And now that we've got those painted and glue, or not painted, but glued together, we're going to take and start assembling our house. So now we're going to bring it over the house, and you'll see this one's not done up because this is the first time that I did it, and I put it together first, and you'll see my house wasn't quite dry, and I put it together first and then decided that's not what I wanted to do and ended up having to take it apart. But this is how you put it together. It's just like this, and you're going to glue your little Jenga blocks to one side of the house in the lower corners, and then you're going to do the same on the other side of the house. Glue it together, put some glue down, and glue it together. And then you're going to repeat that step for when you add the other side of the other house. And this is how I put mine together. Okay, and this is what you should have when you're finished. It should look like this and stand up like this. Now, mine is already decorated, so now we're going to move to the decorated one. Okay, you guys, now we're at the part of the house that is decorated, and I cut 3 5x7 pieces of cardstock, and what I'm doing is I'm folding this over the peak of the roof, and then I'm gluing it down. And those are just 3 decorated pieces of cardstock that it had embossing already on it, and I'm going to repeat that for all 3 peaks. Okay, you guys, we've got our little gingerbread house to this point now, and this is just the cardstock that I put on and just showing you what it looks like at this point. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bow for right here, and how I'm doing that is I got 3 little strips of material here, or material. It is ribbon, and I'm going to cut right up the center of that to make me little bitty ribbons, because I don't have any of these colors that I want to use for this. So I'm going to cut right up the center of them, long ways, just like that, and cutting it in 2. And then I'm going to put them together and make me a little bitty teeny tiny messy bow. There you go. This is what they look like. This is the back side. There's the front side. Now I'm going to take my stapler. Okay. Remember, we staple our bows so that it's easier for us to do. So I'm going to set that center right there on the center of my staple in the center of the bow and just staple it down. And voila, we got the beginnings of our messy bow. So we're going to do that to both bows. That we got to make 2 of them, one for one side and one for the other side. Everything you do on this gingerbread house, you're going to need to make it have duplicates. So if you do it on this side of the house, you need to do it so that you can do it for this side of the house, because both sides are going to be identical. You can make it different if you want, but I chose to make mine identical. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to trim the ends of my pipe cleaner off to about that much. I don't know if you can see how much I left. I left just about a 1/4 inch. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to put some hot glue on it. Get plenty of glue on it. And the reason why I left that little 1/4 inch is so I can stick it up here underneath this little peak right here. And I'm going to pull off all my strings. And I just stuck it right under that little peak on the front of the house. Now we're going to take our little jute bow, and it came off of one of our other projects that we did this fall, and we're going to take and glue that right to the center of that. Hang on just a second, gotta get some more glue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the center of my bow is spread out, and I'm going to take that and stick it right in the center of that, just like that. Now at this point, if you think it needs to be trimmed up, you can, but I kind of like mine like that because it gives it a little star effect. And that's the way I'm going to leave mine, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm probably going to put a little button or something here. I hadn't got to that yet. But I also have these little jewelry cones that I'm going to be putting on the peaks of the house, like right here. So I'm going to add those, and when I get done, I'll be right back. Okay, so we got our little bow on, and we added the little jewelry part, topper, and now I'm going to add a big red button right to the center of my bow, right here. I'll put some glue on there, and then I'm going to flip it to the side and stick that button on there. And this is going to be my country Christmas gingerbread house. This is a no-fail gingerbread house, okay? This one's not going to fall, okay? So we're going to keep adding stuff to this, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our popsicle sticks, and we need to cover the ends of our eaves of our little gingerbread house because we have a hole right here in our cardstock. So what I'm going to do, and plus this is going to help reinforce it side to side, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put some hot glue on here, and then I'm going to stick my little popsicle stick that we painted earlier, because remember we were going to use these for the whole house, and then I decided not to. So the next one we're going to do is going to be right down here, and I add some glue there, stick my popsicle stick on there, and I'm letting it hang over a little on the front and a little on the back so it looks like actual eaves of houses. Okay, and then I'm going to put them right here. I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put one back here, and then I'm going to repeat it on all the peaks of the roofs. And when I get done, okay, now that we've got our little country bows on here, up here at the top, and we fluffed them up, and we've added the button, and we've added all of our little cones, now we're going to add some greenery. Over here by the little poker chip, I'm going to take a little piece of greenery that came off of one of my Dollar Tree picks out of my bits and bop bag, and I'm going to put some glue on this. Now the glue that I'm using is the glitter glue, so if it does show, it'll be okay because it's going to it's going to look like my little snow stuff. So that's what type of glue I've been using up here on the little tips. As you can see, I got a little bit of glue right there seeping out. That's okay because I'm going to come back in here and add some glue along this roof to make it look like that's supposed to be that way. So we're adding a little piece of greenery right here by this poker chip, and then to this side over here I've got me another little piece off of my Dollar Tree stuff, and I'm going to stick it right here by this side. So I'm going to put a little glue in here, and then I'm going to stick it right here in this piece and hold it there till it dries. In place. Takes a little bit of time. Okay, now I'm going to repeat that for this side of the house over here, and so far this is what we've got. Let me get it turned back around here. Isn't that adorable? Okay, we could just keep adding and adding and adding to this. It's just that cute. But the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to repeat this on the other side, but the next thing I want to show you is how I'm going to fix this glue mistake right here. I've got glitter glue right here in my glue gun, and I'm going to just take and try to do this where y'all can see it and I can do it. I'm going to take and put some out and pull it. Put some out and pull it to make it look like little icicles coming down off of that and little snow burst. And then I'm going to come along this edge right here, and I'm going to just kind of do a zigzag right along there. And if you don't have glitter glue, that's okay, because what you can do, and I'm going to go up around this one that doesn't have any seeping out, and then I'm going to just pull it down. Now if you don't have glitter glue, and while this is hot, see how that's running on there? That makes it look like it's like icicles. So I'll repeat that on this side here, up here at the top, and I may even come along these edges here and do it right there. But that's what it's going to look like. It's just like that. Okay. Now, okay, you guys. Now that we've got the everything on the house that we want, we're going to add these little squigglies. I call them squigglies, and what they are is they are jute rope just wrapped around a pencil, and it gives it that little gingerbread look. And so we're going to make one of them here. I'm just take a 9-inch piece of this jute wire, and we're going to wrap it around our pencil until we have 2 little twists plus the end. And then I'm going to go to the other end, and I'm going to wrap it around, get 2 little twists out of it plus the end, and that gives us that little bitty piece like this. And then what I did is I just creased it right in the center to give me that little V part, so that I can glue it right onto my house and look like this. And so I glued it right here, and then one on the end on each end, and that's all I had to do. And isn't this little house cute? Alright, you guys, we just finished our cute little country Christmas gingerbread cottage, if that isn't a mouthful. You know, when we were making this, we used all these little pieces that we found in our craft room. Now, if you don't have all these little pieces, like the buttons or the nail art or the little jewelry caps, find something that you do have in your house that you can use to make these pieces. We hope you've inspired to make one of your own gingerbread country cottages for Christmas this year. We hope you like and subscribe and give us a big thumbs up, and leave us comments down in the below if you like our videos, so YouTube will keep promoting them. And that'll do it for this episode of the Crafty Art Shack. We'll see you later. Bye!
Yeah, you know I didn't get it right the first time. Alright, you guys, we just finished our cute little gingerbread house made out of 2 haunted houses from the Halloween supplies. So isn't this just cute? And I think this is a cute, adorable country cottage gingerbread house for our Christmas displays. We hope you like this video, and we hope that it'll encourage you to subscribe. And yeah, this doesn't sound right. Yeah. Let me think, what's that word again? The Art Shack, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Bye!